In this video, we're going to talk about how I believe that Antifa will become Marauders during SHTF. And we'll also talk about how to counteract them should they put you and your prepper group in their crosshairs, right after the channel intro. Remember, you are ultimately responsible for protecting yourself and for providing for yourself. Live your life with honor and integrity, and always be the wolf hunter. Don't be the sheep, and never be the wolf. Welcome to this community. I'm an avid prepper, an oath keeper, and I'm certified to teach firearms and the use of deadly force through my state's police academy. If you want to learn true prepping skills and how to protect yourself without getting arrested, then please subscribe to this channel. So with this country becoming more politically divided, I believe that groups that have certain extreme political beliefs will continue to exist after SHTF. And they may even contribute, whether it's a large contribution or a small one, but they may even contribute to the collapse of society. And I think that one of these groups that will continue to exist during the onset of SHTF and will probably continue after SHTF will be Antifa. And I believe that if Antifa continues after SHTF, I think that they will become Marauders. First, it seems that Antifa has a pack mentality, and they seem pretty good about being able to organize themselves into groups, and they seem to be quick to violence. Second, the leaders will have learned how to operate in chaos with all the practice that they get in all of these riots. So many will know how to drum up groups during chaos in order to overtake areas by sheer numbers. And to touch more on operating on chaos, the more that they take part of these chaotic riots and events, the more they will learn how to effectively operate in chaos, which may allow them to be more effective at achieving their goals during SHTF, especially in urban environments where I believe the vast majority of them are from. And it seems that many are socialists or communists, or at least have socialist type of views, which means that many of them will have the ideology that whatever actually belongs to you should be taken from you and spread amongst others. So I think that they'll use this justification to come and take your stuff so it can be spread amongst their group. Now, I'm not friends with any Antifa members to really know if this is true or not, but it seems that the general consensus of them is that they are not very self-reliant, and that many of them are young and many of them still live at home. So as of right now, I doubt that many of them are very self-reliant or have any food or preps put back. So if SHTF does happen, they may feel forced to expand their search for food outside of their urban zones once the resources in their home base areas dry up. And also, I think this is a real important possibility, so listen up. If we look at this last political election where the vast majority of rural people voted for Trump and the left won many of the cities, they may use this as an excuse to go outside their urban zones, to go out and punish the rural people with violence and by taking their supplies and resources. So how do preppers deal with a marauder group that's made up of today's Antifa? Well, to borrow from Sun Tzu, what do we think their greatest strengths are? And how do we turn those strengths into weaknesses? To me, it seems their greatest strengths are that they organize well into groups and run in packs and aren't afraid of violence. So from what I see of them, and of course there will always be exceptions to the general rule, but it seems as though while they organize into groups well, that their main tactic is to use group numbers to overtake an area. But I don't think that most of them know how to use actual tactics other than just sheer numbers of violent people to accomplish their objective. And I also think that many of them only feel powerful and unafraid to act only when they're within their large group. And that once you've splintered that group into smaller groups, then they'll probably be easily defeated or they will start retreating. So a way of dealing with them, if SHTF has happened, and if this were a life or death situation, and if they were attacking your prepper retreat location, but the way of dealing with them would be the same way of dealing with just about any other attacking force against your location. Using tactics like natural obstacles to funnel them into your pre-planned kill zones where they'd be easy targets, either for your defensive gunfire or easy targets for whatever booby traps you've been able to construct. And then also forcing them to splinter from their large group into smaller groups as they continue their attack. Because I think that if they have to splinter from their large group into smaller groups in order to make it through your funneling areas, I think that once they're forced into smaller groups and they start taking real casualties, I think that they'll be pretty quick to start to regret their decision to attack your prepper retreat and start thinking that any place else besides your location will be a better place to be. Now let's focus on their weaknesses. And some weaknesses that I can think of right offhand are going to be that they're mostly from urban environments, they're mostly young, and most of them don't prep. With being from mostly urban environments, they're going to be used to operating around concrete and buildings. They're not going to have the experience in operating in the wilderness. They're not going to know how to effectively camouflage in the forest. They're not going to know how to make effective shelters if they're on extended raid missions. They're not going to know how to protect themselves from disease-spreading insects. And heck, they might not even know basic water purification unless they've learned it in the urban areas before leaving out to attack prepper locations. So their weakness of very few of them having very little or no outdoor survival skills will probably result in a lot of them dying from the elements, making their group a less effective force. And their weakness of not having much experience of operating in the countryside will also probably mean that they have no idea of how to use camouflage or how to use terrain to their advantage. So if you and your group are trained at all in tactics in a rural environment, then you will probably have a definite advantage. And with many of them being young and their knowledge being mostly from university textbooks, I don't think many of them have had the time to truly develop the idea of thinking outside of the box or learning how to think really dirty or gritty yet. It's just a common fact. For most of us, the older that we get, then the more life experiences that we've had. And with those life experiences, we've learned not to make the same mistakes over and over again. And of course, we've had our lesson learning life experiences during non-SHTF times where it didn't cost us our life because of the rule of law and modern day medical services. However, these young Antifa members won't have that luxury. Many of their life lessons won't have the luxury of the rule of law or medical services during SHTF. While us older preppers, our life lessons have taught us to avoid a fight unless we have to, and then only fight when we're forced to fight, we know to prepare to fight to win. Whereas it seems the typical Antifa member's ideal of a fight is to become part of a group and let mob mentality lead the way. And since many of them don't prep, again they'll be forced to leave their home bases to try to find resources elsewhere. And this will put them out of their home field advantage and put them into your home field advantage. And since they're not preppers, they may be weak from hunger and suffering from diseases brought on by poor nutrition. And their groups will probably be more ragtag with substandard operating firearms and other weapons, rather than the prepper groups who have put back food and have actually trained with their weapons and also know how to keep their weapons functional. Now I know that some of these groups have actually begun training with weapons, but from what I've seen, the majority of them seem to be anti-Second Amendment, and I just don't see the majority of them ever actually becoming familiarized with weapons enough to actually become an actual effective fighting force. At least for now. But the topic of this video is just another reason why I don't think it's smart to be a lone wolf prepper. If SHTF happens, you've got to sleep sometime and rely on somebody else to keep watch if and when there's groups like this looking to take from you. And there's just too many sicknesses and ailments that you and your body can begin suffering from where you will need the support of a tight-knit group in order to survive. Anyways, I have to admit that I haven't spent hours and hours studying every little thing the Antifa does, and I could be totally wrong on one or more of my points in this video. These are just some of my initial thoughts on the subject. So please comment below with anything that you have to add And also be sure to check out the other comments and see what excellent points that others have brought up. While I enjoy making these videos for pennies on the hour, I am wishing to purchase better video and editing equipment that will allow me to make better quality videos for you all without actually putting me into debt to make the videos. So if you have the disposable income, please consider joining my Patreon video channel, where for just $1 a month you'll get early access to videos and also receive special prepper and naturally made gifts from time to time and other exclusive Patreon member rewards when they become available. To help support our community, please subscribe and hit the like button. Please comment below. Please share this video on social media. And please make sure you have the bell icon hit for notifications of when videos are released. Find me on Facebook. Just type Ethical Preparedness Page in the Facebook search box. Anyways, folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching. And I pray that you have a good night.